You're listening to Freedom Talk Radio with your host Andy Peacher, live from the UK. Email us freedomtalkradio2013@gmail.com or visit us at freedomtalkradioonline.com.
The most hated Prime Minister in our history is on the verge of resigning. The Daily Mail has an exclusive that Keir Starmer has told his close friends, close associates, that he's going to set a timetable to step down. But there's one caveat. He wants to step down without making it look like he was forced to step down. That Andy Burnham hadn't pressured him to step down. Well, sorry, Keir. Sorry to burst your bubble. You are hated from the top to the bottom of this country. You have no choice but to resign. The Manderson files were the last in many, many scandals where you should have gone. Anyone else would have gone. But no, you are so far removed, so far detached from reality and from us, the simple plebs of this country. You thought you could hang on and survive. But now you know the game's up. Well done, Dan Hodges from the Daily Mail for this exclusive. I'm going to pop it on the screen if I haven't already. Let's just hope it's not months. Let's hope it's weeks. And we are finally rid of this, I'm going to say, cancer of our politics, because he has been that bad. He's been that divisive. Only yesterday, he was calling the people at the Unite the Kingdom March as extremists, as people that he didn't want in society. Well, sorry, Keir Starmer. I was there today with maybe 200, 300,000 people that are scared for the future of their grandkids, their kids, nieces, nephews, and just the future of this country. And I just want to shout out to so many that come up to me and said that they watched my morning paper review. Thank you. That meant so much to me. I had so many selfies, I can't believe it. I'm just a normal, average man. And to have people come up and say, thanks for speaking for me, means everything. And I hope I gave you enough time. I was in a rush at some point to get to the front. But thank you for everyone that come up and said hello today. One thing, before I start with these papers, I am sponsored by Christophe Deschamps watches. I'm wearing mine now. You can get up to 85% off with the link and the code in my descriptions. First off, the Daily Mail. Wes turns screw on Burnham over Brexit. As PM prepares a resignation timeline, Streeting threatens to derail King and Andy coronation with shock call to rejoin the EU. They never learn, do they? These politicians never learn. It was the will of the people to leave the EU. 17.4 million of us voted. We never got what we wanted because the politicians thought they knew better than us. We had some watered down version that has helped no one. We want a proper Brexit. We do not want to be ruled over by an authoritarian EU state. As I said yesterday, an EU state whose laws took precedent over our laws in our own parliament. What sort of trade bloc acts like that? I tell you what, a very, very sinister one. Good riddance to the EU. We do not want to go back in. And hopefully, if Wes Streeting does get in, which I think is doubtful, then he won't have enough time to do the damage, because hopefully Reform will take the next election in, I'm hoping, 2 years. I don't think this Labour government can survive much longer than that. The Sun on Sunday. King is aware of Met inquiry. Royal Cops misconduct probe. It goes, claims armed officers fell asleep on the job. Now, they're not just investigating one or two of these armed cops. They're investigating 30. What are they doing? I mean, look, I am no lover, and I've said that, of King Charles. I don't want to get rid of the monarchy, British heritage, our culture, but, my love for the royals died when the Queen died, and that's because my late nan loved the Queen. But, they need protecting. They're, the most famous family in the world, our king, and royal cops are falling asleep. Unbelievable, really. What is going on in this world? The Mirror. Andy Burnham exclusive, they go with. How would I change Britain? Well, first off, Andy, you've got to win the by-election. And let me tell you now, I've been speaking to reform activists and reform officials over the last 24 hours, and they think they can beat you. You have got such a fight on your hands in this by-election. I think you've made a mistake. I really do. And you wait now. There's other headlines. You're going to start getting attacked over your handling of the grooming gang inquiries and grooming gang situations. And I think that's going to turn a lot of people off you once that comes out. It goes with PM hopeful, wants more public control of life's essentials, calls for huge council house building scheme, and it says, as Streeton announces, he's standing to be the PM. So just so you don't know, because it's not really on the headlines, Wes Streeting is now saying he's going full on into this leadership campaign. It was thought that a deal had been done. I had been told that possibly a deal had been done between him and Andy Burnham, but no. Wes Streeting wants the top job. So look, Andy Burnham's got to win this by-election first. Remember, Wes Streeting is already an MP. Andy Burnham is not. So that's going against him. And as I say, Reform are very, very confident they can win that by-election. I believe June 18th is the settled day. Right, the People, the Sunday People. Olympics in the North, they go with. UK fires starting gun to host games and spread the magic of 2012. Well, obviously, remember when we had the London Olympics 2012, the big fan furore, suddenly London was the cleanest it had been. There was a real feel-good factor. They want to do it up north, and I believe 2040, because it doesn't say on the front page. And they're trying to get it up north to regenerate and do that. I wouldn't be against that. I think it would be good to have the Olympics up there. Let's just hope that we don't get any woke, opening ceremonies. Remember the last one? Oh my God, was it in France? That was, they had transvestites and everything woke. It was pathetic. It actually put me off watching the Olympics. I don't think I did. It gave me the Right, the Sunday Times. Britain should rejoin the EU, declares Streeting. He vows to challenge Starmer and calls Brexit catastrophic. Well, let me just say, all this propaganda that Brexit has cost us and that we're in such a bad place because of Brexit is lies. Complete fabrication and lies. When they go on about GDP this, GDP that, it's lies. Funded lies. Because if you look at the graphs of the UK, France and Germany, they're basically intertwined all the way from 2016 to now. Very little deviance between each three countries. It's a lie. And they always go on about GDP as being the metric they want to measure us by with Brexit. There's been hardly any difference. We have gone along the same trajectory as France and Germany. This whole Brexit lie is so, at some stage they can try and reverse it. And that stage is now. Wes Streeting is openly calling for it. So there are going to be more lies about how apparently our GDP is 8% lower. Nonsense. If you speak to proper economists, and I've spoke to two, and they plot where that is on a graph, it would mean we're a massive outlier from France and Germany and other EU states. It's a lie. Please don't swallow this. There's a lot of money that is funded, and I believe it comes from your George Soroses and all those billionaires that want to destabilise Britain to try and send the false narrative that Brexit hurt us. No, it didn't. And it still hasn't been done properly because our MPs, as I said earlier, thought they knew better. Right, the Sunday Express. Fears Labour turmoil will wreck Brexit. We've spoke about that. Leadership rivals put rejoining the EU on the agenda. They are misreading this public. What it is, they go to their coffee shops and they listen to certain people, well, Brexit this, Brexit that. This is not what the average person in the pub or the street wants. They do not want this reversed at all. They can see through the lies, what I've just said, the propaganda. They do not want Brexit reversed. And Labour are going to cost themselves votes. But I tell you what they're trying to do here. They're trying to win back Lib Dem votes. They're trying to win back the Greens that are not happy with, the anti-Semitism and that the Greens have gone away from trees, rivers and the environment. That's who they're trying to get back. The middle class lovies that think Brexit, is the devil incarnated. That's what Labour are up to. It's a simple numbers game. Votes. That's all they do. Next up, the Daily Star. Tattoos for England aces if 3 Lions lift the World Cup. They ink, it's all over, they go with. England's World Cup stars will get special tattoo to celebrate if they win the World Cup. Boss Thomas Tuchel reckons it will spur Harry Kane's side on to glory. Well, look, I've got a pub. So the longer we go on in this World Cup is the better for me. Hopefully we have a busy June and July. I really hope so. And that some of these games are not like 3 a.m. and I can't open. But look, I'm patriotic. I remember Italia 90, sitting there, in my room watching that. So excited. I just really would love to see England win the World Cup. And we've got some great players. I'm not particularly sold on this manager, I'll be honest with you. But let's see. First off, or last up, before I go to these, please read the descriptions. Christophe Deschamps have been kind enough to sponsor this programme for me, this show. And look, in my descriptions, I can offer you 85% off Christophe Deschamps watches. I wear one myself. They've got a 4.8 out of 5 Trustpilot. That means basically they can be trusted. I would never, ever try and sell you something from a rogue company. 3 papers left. No, I've got 1 paper left and 2 very interesting stories. I correct myself. The Sunday Telegraph. Labour rivals want to rejoin the EU. Burnham and Streeton will seek to scrap Brexit in a move dubbed betrayal by reform. Agreed, reform. As I've said, it is a betrayal. Doesn't matter that 17.4 million of us voted one way. These politicians think they know best. All they're doing is chasing votes, as I said. Right, there's 2 stories here that I think are very interesting. They're not on the front pages, but I think they're good to save till last. So please stay around. It says, Farage to attack Burnham on grooming gangs failure. Reform UK will challenge Greater Manchester Mayor on issue when he stands in Makerfield by-election. As I said earlier, Burnham isn't loved by all up north. They call him the King of the North. But there are many that question how he behaved during the grooming gang scandals around Manchester. He didn't do enough. Maggie Oliver, who is an absolute legend, by the way. A lot of this wouldn't have come out about the grooming gangs if it wasn't for Maggie Oliver. She savages Andy Burnham with how, he acted and that he didn't help. And look, he's part of an establishment that effectively covered it up. So that will go badly for Andy Burnham in an area where Reform have done all right, recently. People think that Burnham didn't take the rape and the sexual assault and the grooming of young girls seriously. If they believe that, he's in trouble. So very interesting. Farage is going for the jugular on Burnham over the grooming gangs. And I think that could cost Labour several points. Last up, Angela Rayner should have faced penalty over unpaid stamp duty on seaside home, says whistleblower in the department that investigated her. HMRC department. One of the people that investigated her has gone and blown the whistle and said, she should have faced a penalty. Apparently, it's being alleged, she's just paid the £40,000 owed and a line has been drawn under it. That wouldn't probably happen if it was you or I. Okay? There would be a big, big penalty. And there are questions as to why, if it is true, if this is alleged, she is being treated differently to if me or you did that. So that's very, very interesting. Look, thanks for staying around. It's been a long day, if I'm honest. 2 a.m. I've been to the United Kingdom march, come home, had my dinner, and then I went to the pub, worked for a few hours at the pub. So look, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching this. Please subscribe. And again, if it gives you the option to hype my videos, please hype them because, you know, as I said, I was in the UK's top 100 hype videos the other day. I think I had 3, and that's because of people like you. Thank you for supporting independent journalism and listening to someone. Look, I'm not important. I'm just a publican with a very gobby mouth that goes on GB News and Talk Radio. So thank you very much. All right, see you tomorrow.